It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. You studied the stats. You had the perfect bracket until your upsets turned into regrets. SportsGrid rides the highs and lows of every buzzer beater, bracket buster, and Cinderella story.
The Big Ten Freshman of the Year!
Our team brings you sharp insights, real-time reactions, and all the madness. Only on SportsGrid.
If you look at how the men and women did it, the men, the portal opened up the day after the round of 32. Same thing with the women. Men on Monday, women on Tuesday. Why can't they just do the day after the national championship game when the season ends, next season begins, then you open up the portal. All teams have completed play. All bets are off.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
And welcome in, and a very happy Tuesday to you now. Welcome to April, if you can believe it, 2025. That's right, no April Fools here as we get ready for let's just say an uneven night in Major League Baseball, where we're going to get 2 games in the National League, 2 games in the American League, and, 9 games of interleague action. Doesn't seem very baseball-like that is how we are starting off the season in week 1, but here we are. I'm Joe Raineri. Certainly appreciate you stopping by, and we have got you covered here over the next couple of hours, getting you ready for not only that slate in Major League Baseball, we still got NBA regular season games to get through with 7 games on tap here tonight. First game up, of course, will feature the one and only New York Knicks taking on the tanking, that is right, the tanking Philadelphia 76ers, with the Knicks laying just about 2 touchdowns in that game there. It'll culminate with a pretty good one out west with the Minnesota Timberwolves visiting the former champs there, the Denver Nuggets, in what should be a battle, quite honestly, and a battle that Minnesota has dominated as of late here, as they have had no problem beating Denver, dating all the way back to last season, of course, as well as the postseason. But Denver tonight laying a small number 3 in that game, and that'll be your late game in the association. You mix in a couple of 6, I believe, in fact, college basketball games, including one that's already finished with DePaul taking on Cincinnati in Las Vegas. This would be the Crown Tournament, with Cincinnati winning 83-61 earlier in the day. Currently, UCF, Central Florida, and Oregon State underway, 25-23, about 7 minutes to go in the first half of that game. UCF closed as a big favorite, but the NIT is going to be in full effect here tonight. Coming up, 7 o'clock Eastern time will be the first game, and that, of course, is going to feature North Texas. Yes, North Texas taking on UC Irvine here. Irvine, the number 1 seed out of that bracket, taking on the number 2 seed, North Texas there, with North Texas being a slight favorite. And we are, ironically enough, starting to see a little bit of over money starting to creep into the marketplace with North Texas. They have been notorious for playing in under games. Everything is a half-court game with North Texas. UC Irvine, they can score with the best of them, but it does feel like defense, which is not something we've gotten a whole heck of a lot of in these extra tournaments that we have had in college basketball outside, of course, of the tournament there, the March Madness tournament, but should be a good one there. And the nightcap will feature 2 number 5 seeds. You're going to have Chattanooga taking on Loyola Chicago. Both teams very impressive on their run to this game. And especially Loyola, who had to go all the way out to California and take down San Jose State, as well as the Dons of San Francisco, before they came back home and had to win against Kent State. And now Chattanooga, well, they had to beat Middle Tennessee State along with Dayton and Bradley. And yet here they are, 2 teams with 2 different paths to get here. And we're looking at Loyola being a slight 2.5-point favorite. These games, by the way, are all the NIT semifinals, and the final will be in Indy, which is where they are for this game here tonight. So sort of neutral site games in here. Still plenty of college basketball going on. So if you thought you could put that to bed and wait for the Final Four this weekend, nope. We got more basketball coming your way. Eventually, we will crown, of course, an NIT champ as well as a national champion here with just 4 teams remaining in what is going to be one heck of a battle between 4, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4 number 1s. Lot to dive into later about what's going to happen here at the Final Four. Also, keeping in mind, we still have the women's side of the bracket going on, not to mention a couple of more games out in Vegas here tonight with Colorado and Villanova, followed by Tulane and USC. So it is a loaded slate in college basketball here tonight, and we have got you covered. You are in the right spot here on the grid, as we will have wall-to-wall coverage of everything that's going on, including in-game live following this show coming up at 8 o'clock Eastern. And the NHL back at it here as they look to close out the regular season and get ready for the playoffs. And I love some of these games here tonight, including my Florida Panthers on the road taking on a team they just lost to on Sunday, the Montreal Canadiens. Big fight at the end of that game, which included a slap shot, a meaningless slap shot from all the way across the ice, almost took off one of the heads of the Montreal Canadiens. Canadians didn't appreciate it. The Panthers didn't appreciate losing that game 4-2 on their own home ice. Well, we'll see if any of that carries over tonight, as I believe that game coming up at 7 o'clock here, as Florida vying for that number 1 seed in their conference, and Montreal trying to lock themselves in to a playoff berth. So that's just one of a few games that got a lot of juice here tonight, including late night with Edmonton and Vegas going at it, and the Islanders trying to stay above water, also vying for those play-in spots there with an opportunity for post-season hockey. They'll have to take on the Tampa Bay Rays, while the Ottawa Senators, boy, they're trying to just do anything they can to hold on here. They've got the Buffalo Sabres, who are playing for absolutely nothing here tonight. We'll talk some hockey over the next hour and a half. We've got George Kurtz coming up. We've got Joe Madden stopping by. We'll run through the list and what it all means as the regular season gets ready to come to a close here in a couple of weeks on the ice, as well as the NBA. And who will it be? Who's going to make these play-in spots? Who's going to be the number 1 seeds, the number 2 seeds? Still a lot to be determined, by the way, in both sides of the conferences on who's going to lock in those first-round home series here. That number 4 seed is a big deal on both sides, and Memphis tonight, well, they currently hold the 5th seed, but not by much. And the team they're playing tonight, the Golden State Warriors, well, guess what? They would love to keep moving up the ladder here tonight, as Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler take their show to Memphis. 15-4 is what the Golden State Warriors have been since the All-Star break. Meanwhile, Memphis, you want to talk about two teams going in completely opposite directions. Well, Memphis has only watched, Ja Morant play, 35, 40 games this year. They have been an absolute free fall over the last month and a half. That includes firing their coach over the last week, which is another head-scratching move. 3 weeks out of the playoffs, you fire your head coach. And boy, what did they get in return? Well, they got a couple of more losses as they had to play Cleveland and Boston, and they didn't care who the coach of the Memphis Grizzlies were. Golden State coming in red hot here tonight, but the money has all been on the Memphis Grizzlies. That is a game we're going to talk much about coming up, as that, along with Phoenix and Milwaukee, two teams trying to stop the bleeding, also going at it here tonight. So a little something for everyone here, and we have got you covered as Game Time Decisions. Whether it's Major League Baseball, whether it's the NHL, the NBA, college hoops, we got you covered here. We're going to break it all down for you, so come back and join us on the grid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The team we expected to be a national championship frontrunner all season long and even before the big dance. That is the Duke Blue Devils.
I don't care if people are like, oh, anticlimactic. You have the four best teams lined up, superstar coaches, young coaches, old coaches, veteran teams, young teams. This has got a lot of great storylines heading to the Final Four this weekend.
Only on SportsGrid.
They won the game, and a lot of people, I think, are, prematurely writing them off. Like, I heard a lot of people say they're not even making the playoffs this year.
What I give them credit for right now, Scott, I'm not going to pencil them to win the division yet. Let's see how they do. What I give the Red Sox credit for, and this sounds like silly, I give them credit for actually trying this year.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Time Decisions, off and running here on this Tuesday now, April the 1st. Can't believe it. We said goodbye to March, welcoming in April. That, of course, welcomes in a lot of Major League Baseball as the season is off and running, and we are all for it here. Interesting slate of games here tonight, though. Just two American League versus American League games, two National League versus National League, and everything else is interleague play. Is an interesting way to start off the season as we welcome in our good friend George Kurtz here tonight. Take a look at some of the action coming up on the diamond. And not too far from me, the New York Mets will be taking on the Miami Marlins, where if this was a couple of years ago, Kurtz, I would have already played the under in this game, but well, Senga and Alcantara both have, not the same pitchers they were, thanks to surgeries and injuries and everything else over the last couple of years. But Sandy looked pretty good his first time out. Senga, well, we saw him last year for a little while. Didn't look great. I'm seeing a total at 8 with the Marlins now plus 130, 135, somewhere in that ballpark. How would you approach this with us already having seen Alcantara, but maybe not Senga here at this point?
Yeah, Senga, we haven't seen much of him, right? He had a solid spring, but nothing great. They pitched him as late as they could here to get him in the rotation. I like the Mets tonight. 154 is a little strong for Senga here. Alcantara is a better pitcher. The problem is, Joe, what's he going to go? 5 innings, maybe 5 plus. He's not going 7. I mean, and then you get to the Miami bullpen here, which is the problem with the under as well. I think both Senga and Alcantara will be great. Maybe want to go first 5 under. That could be a way to play this year. So I think they'll be great until they come out of the game, and that's specifically Alcantara. Once he comes out of the game, it's like all bets are off now. What the Mets might do to that Miami bullpen. They destroyed it last night. They might do the same. So that's your worry about the 8. It's not Alcantara. It's how fast he comes out. And I imagine it's at least 3+ innings that bullpen's going to have to go and what the Mets do to that. I do like the Mets to win the game, though.
Yeah, Mets should win. I mean, listen, it's not like the long ball's coming into play for Miami. I think combined 45 career home runs in this lineup. So I would suggest that if you're expecting runs from Miami, probably not going to get a whole lot unless Senga's just throwing batting practice at this particular point. The Yankees are at home here tonight. Will Warren on the mound, who looked okay in spring training, but Corbin Burns, this will be our first look at him this year in a Diamondbacks uniform. And of course, much is being made about the Yankee bats and the torpedo bats. And well, Ellie had a field day using it last night, career night there for the Reds. It's the hottest trend here. But, ultimately, doesn't great pitching always trump whatever bat you're going up to the plate with there, Kurtz? What do you think happens here tonight with Burns on the hill?
Yeah, you're going to find out real quick that torpedo bats don't mean crap if you have a good pitcher on the mound. All right?
So true.
I like Arizona in this game a whole bunch. All right? Listen, the torpedo bats are great if you can make contact, right? Because the wood's getting denser right by the barrel. So, yeah, it'll help if you make contact, strong contact. Other than that, it doesn't do not going to do much for you here. The Yankees faced softball pitchers over the weekend. All right, they're not going to face that with Corbin Burns today, and probably not much with Zach Gallen tomorrow. So yeah, I like Corbin Burns. I like the Arizona Diamondbacks tonight. Will Warren, sort of a work in progress. We'll see he was good the early part of camp, trailed off at the end. Not that he was bad, but wasn't the same pitcher he was. It's hard not to like Arizona. It's Corbin Burns versus Will Warren. All right. I mean, I think it's minus 118. I know we had minus 112 there. Where I live, it's minus 118 here. I'm still on the Arizona Diamondbacks. I think they take care of business tonight. I kind of think this is going to be a lower scoring game, too. It is cool here, on Long Island, certainly in the Bronx as well here. I haven't pulled that trigger yet, but I don't think we're going to see a lot of runs in this game either.
So it's interesting, Kurtz. We're only obviously just a week into the season, but I'm looking at a Minnesota Twins team who doesn't have a win. I'm looking at an Atlanta Braves team that, they don't have a win. I'm looking, you go up and down. Some of the starts to the season for some of these teams are head-scratching, to say the least. Who do you think gets off the schneid here tonight of all these winless teams?
I mean, the first thing we look at is, okay, the Twins, they got to beat the White Sox, don't they? But the Sox are playing pretty well here. Their starting pitching's been really, really good. And they're throwing Simeon Woods Richardson tonight. So it's hard to love the Twins here, but, okay, maybe. I know Chris Sale is going for the Braves tonight, but Dustin May is going for the Dodgers, and Dustin May is pretty good as well. The Braves can't hit their way out of a paper bag right now. It doesn't matter who pitches against them. So it's hard really to like them as well here. I don't think this is a great slate tonight, Joe, right? So I think if you're looking to make money here, you might want to switch over to the NHL, maybe even the NBA. I don't think it's a great slate for MLB to really, we're going to hit this game hard. We're going to hit that game hard. I thought yesterday was much better here. I like the slate yesterday. Don't like the slate as much tonight here. You asked the question of which winless team gets on the board here. I'll go with the Twins. But I have no faith in it, and I'm not betting it.
The Brewers are a train wreck as well, not because they can't score runs, but Kurtz, they can't stop the other team from scoring. I thought maybe it was the torpedo bats, but now I'm tending to believe it has everything to do with how bad this Brewers pitching staff is. But they're at home, taking on the Royals here tonight. Might it be the Brewers that finally get the job done at home tonight?
I would probably like this if Freddie Peralta was pitching.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. Listen, I like the Royals tonight. Actually, give me plus money on the Royals. Everyone's beating up the Brewers here. The Brewers in that series against the Yankees had the most pitches under 90 miles an hour in baseballs. They averaged 88.9. You can't win in today's game doing that. All right, you just can't win doing that here. So no, I like the Royals tonight. Would have liked them a lot more, but Pasquantino is out of the lineup tonight. He's still nursing a hamstring injury there. Still, I like the Royals. Kind of like I think it's going to be some runs scored in this game. Over under is 8.5 here. Lorenzen versus Patrick. I like the Royals and the over.
You know what? I don't hate that at all. You got like number 3 or 4 pitchers going. Sure, give me some runs there in Milwaukee. So I'm with you there. There are some spots. Good pitching battle in Seattle with Mize and Gilbert. That should be interesting here tonight. So a little something for everybody. And George, we appreciate you stopping by as always. Like you had said, if it ain't Major League Baseball, plenty of NHL coming up. We got some NBA, more college basketball, lot going on, and we're just getting started. Come back and join us as Game Time Decisions continues on the grid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The team we expected to be a national championship frontrunner all season long and even before the big dance. That is the Duke Blue Devils.
I don't care that people are like, oh, anticlimactic. You have the 4 best teams lined up, superstar coaches, young coaches, old coaches, veteran teams, young teams. This has got a lot of great storylines heading to the Final Four this weekend.
Only on SportsGrid.
They won the game, and a lot of people, I think, are, prematurely writing them off. Like, I heard a lot of people say they're not even making the playoffs this year.
What I give them credit for right now, Scott, I'm not going to pencil them to win the division yet. Let's see how they do. What I give the Red Sox credit for, and this sounds like silly, I give them credit for actually trying this year.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Time Decisions here on the SportsGrid Network. A very happy April 1st to you as we get ready with plenty across the sports betting landscape here today, including Major League Baseball getting ready. First pitch in a couple of games, 6:40 Eastern time, just about 15 minutes from now. We'll see the Mets taking on the Marlins as well as the Texas Rangers. And Nathan Eovaldi looked pretty decent there first go around. He's taking on the Cincinnati Reds, and Chris Spires on the mound, maybe, just maybe, at the Great American Ballpark. Still a little cold in that neck of the woods here tonight, so maybe not quite the sandbox and the run fest that we are used to at the Great American Ballpark. Might be worth a look-see here to the under in that one, but both of those games kicking the slate off at 6:40 Eastern time as we get ready for those games. And, of course, really the story so far in this first week of Major League Baseball is how many is the teams that don't have a win at this point. And we talked about a few of them there with George Kurtz, how the Brewers, that bullpen is a absolute train wreck, but so is the starting pitching right now. And I thought maybe it was give the Yankees, the Bronx Bombers, a little credit, but I can't because everybody seems to be hitting the Brewers pitching. They sit 0-4 on the season. Could they get it turned around here tonight, sending the rookie Patrick out there? Yikes. The Royals, 500 so far at 2-2. Of course, everyone is looking at the Atlanta Braves and going, what in the world? Well, Atlanta had to take on what? The Padres on the road, who are no slouch. They also don't have their full complement, obviously, of starters yet. The health is still concerning there for the Braves, but they will get healthier. They will hit better than what they have been hitting. But the problem is they've had to run into two buzzsaws with great pitching. And unfortunately, if you can't hit, you can't score runs, and you are not holding the Dodgers down, and not many teams yet have held the Padres down. So even though Chris Sale on the mound here tonight, taking on Dusty May, it's good to get him back in the rotation. I know the Dodgers are very excited to get him back into this rotation. But Chris Sale, 6.5 Ks is a little interesting number there against the Dodgers. But we have known over the last couple of years that if you are ever going to back a pitcher against this Dodgers lineup, lefty was the way to go here for whatever reason. They struggled a little bit, certainly early on in the season over the last couple of years against lefties. We'll see if Chris Sale can get one going for them here tonight, but yet they sit there at 0-4 on the season. And the Minnesota Twins, I mean, what can you say? This is a team that just can't hit. They can't hit at all. And it's getting uglier as the season moves on. I mean, we're talking about a team that's batting collectively 143 as a team. They are also have nearly a 24% K percentage here. They don't walk. They have the lowest walk ratio of any team so far. They have one of the highest strikeout ratios of any team. And that's because the Seattle Mariners went, hold my beer, Twins. If you think you strike out a lot, watch what we can do. But a $143 is not going to get it done. Now, tonight, the Twins trying to get one, but they're going to be playing the White Sox, and they're taking on kind of an unknown, Shane Smith, this Rule 5 pick they got from the Brewers. And my goodness, this is a guy that was hitting triple digits in spring training. This guy has got he's got the stuff. He's got the arm. Can he get there? Can he throw enough in order to be able to limit this Twins lineup, which again is hitting 143 and strikes out 24% of the time? Not good. I don't know, especially with temperatures in the mid 30s tonight, a little breezy. Yeah, feels like an under is coming once again here tonight in this matchup. But I am going to be interested to see this Shane Smith here and what he can do against this struggling Twins lineup in cold weather. So a lot to look at here in Major League Baseball as the season progresses. Of course, the Yankees will welcome in Corbin Burns to the Bronx. That game coming up top of the hour. We'll have much more on this slate. We'll dive into some of the NBA games here tonight, including should the Knicks really be laying 14 points against anybody at this time? We'll talk more about it as Game Time Decisions continues on the grid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups. My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The team we expected to be a national championship frontrunner all season long and even before the big dance. That is the Duke Blue Devils.
I don't care if people are like, oh, anticlimactic. You have the 4 best teams lined up, superstar coaches, young coaches, old coaches, veteran teams, young teams. This has got a lot of great storylines heading to the Final Four this weekend.
Only on SportsGrid.
They won the game, and a lot of people, I think, are, prematurely writing them off. Like, I heard a lot of people say they're not even making the playoffs this year.
What I give them credit for right now, Scott, I'm not going to pencil them to win the division yet. Let's see how they do. What I give the Red Sox credit for, and this sounds like silly, I give them credit for actually trying this year.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, Game Time Decisions here on the SportsGrid Network. I'm Joe Raineri. We welcome in our good friend Tom Vecchio here as we got plenty of torpedo bats somewhere in the studio here, Tom, that we can certainly dissect here. I'm looking forward to this Yankee game coming up at the top of the hour with Corbin Burns taking the hill for the first time there in an Arizona Diamondbacks uniform, taking on Will Warren. And all we keep hearing about are these bats, these torpedo bats. And last I checked, Major League Baseball okayed all of this. And if it's within the rules, that means look at Ellie last night. Used his torpedo bat and had a career night. Guys but he would have had a career night no matter what bat he was using. That's the funny part about all of it. These guys aren't splitting the bat and, getting caught on the ends. These guys are barreling everything right now that are hitting well. Pitching is usually ahead of hitting this time of year, but torpedo bats is what we're reading about, Tom, and I think it's hilarious.
It is, and I would say that this is like a real good test for the Yankees, or like what people have a theory about it, because the Brewers pitching staff isn't great. Like Freddie Peralta may be a good pitcher, but I don't think he's at the level of Corbin Burns. So like what we will see develop is when we see true aces like a Corbin Burns tonight go up against a team that uses these torpedo bats or whatever it might be, that's where we're really going to see, because will the pitching excel? Like, will the pitching be out in front, or are the bats actually this strong? So it's going to develop over the course of weeks. And again, if all teams have the ability to do so, be creative with it and get out there and use it. Like I said this on Sunday to Donnie on Pro Baseball Today, the bats are the MLB equivalent of the tush push. Like everyone can do it. It seems that just maybe one or two teams are just more successful than others.
Listen, everybody could have done steroids at a certain era too in Major League Baseball, and you know what? They all were. It really didn't make a difference, did it? Kind of level playing field there. But there are some games tonight that appear to have pretty good pitching matchups here in such a weird schedule where you're still getting 90% of these games are interleague. But how about Casey Mize tonight taking on Logan Gilbert, Detroit versus Seattle? Feels like an under with these two pitchers here tonight. How are you looking at it?
Yeah, under would certainly be the case. Logan Gilbert is awesome. Casey Mize is a former top prospect. Lost a year in 2023 because, surgery. But I like him specifically over 4.5 strikeouts. Strikeout rate wasn't super high last year, again, smaller sample size, but he had 22 strikeouts in 17 innings in spring training. Seattle, their offense, though, has been the issue for them. Like, they have an amazing pitching staff, and the offense is an issue. They're striking out 27.1% of the time versus righties so far. Obviously, it's only a handful of games, but if we look back to last year with their current active roster, it was actually also 27%. So they strike out a ton. Mize is a player that I think we can start to build some trust into and kind of being that third option behind Skubal and Flaherty in that pitching staff. And yeah, it is all about the under tonight.
Interesting game here. Interesting start to the season for the Cardinals. You and I have talked about this team. I didn't expect them to win 70 some odd games this year. I think it's a transformation year for the Cardinals, but they've been off to a decent start. The Angels are playing them here tonight, and well, they know Kyle Hendricks pretty well, the Cardinals, don't they? So this should be an interesting game. How are you approaching this one?
I think both teams are overperforming to start. I'm not a believer in the Cardinals. I like under 8.5 in this game. You know, we're getting winds that I was seeing 15 to 20 miles per hour, a bit in from right, a bit right to left. Like, it just doesn't set up to being and like St. Louis is already like a pretty modest pitcher's park. He like skews a bit more towards pitching rather than hitting. Hendricks versus it's Liberatore on the mound, I believe, for the Cardinals tonight. Like, they're both ground ball pitchers. They don't allow a ton of like hard contact. They're not super heavy strikeout pitchers, but I see this as a game that could end 3-1, 4-2, maybe 5-2. But and I don't know who's going to win. Either team can win because I'm not a believer in either team. But it's all about the under tonight. The wind blowing in certainly hampers things, especially if we're going to see pitchers that aren't fly ball pitchers. They can keep things under control tonight on the ground.
All right, we got a couple of interesting games in the association tonight as well, Tom. One of the ones I'm looking at is, don't catch a falling knife, right? The Memphis Grizzlies are a falling knife. They are a hot mess. And you've got the red hot Golden State Warriors coming to town here with Jimmy and Steph and company, 15-4 since the break. What do we do with this Memphis team? Because you can't pick them at a side. So what do we do? Prop market with this team?
I like the under in this game overall, but I specifically like Jaren Jackson Jr. under 21.5. These teams are two playoff-bound teams. They're fighting for seeding. I think we should see a more defensive style game, at least I would like to hope. These teams are 10th and 9th in defensive efficiency, so they are good defenses. Recent results for the Grizzlies notwithstanding, like, we know they're a mess right now. But ultimately, if you're a mess, do you want to increase possessions and therefore increase variance against the team with Steph Curry on the other side? Do you want to give him more bites at the apple, the ball in his hands more often? No. So I think that means kind of reeling things in and keeping the game under control. So I like the under, but I specifically like Jaren Jackson under 21.5 points. He's been at this number half the time in his last 10 games. Like, he's barely getting there. And I don't think, again, this game's going to be running up and down the court.
Yeah, no, it's they got to stop the bleeding, Memphis here. Just an absolute mess they have been over the last month or so of the season. And on the NHL, I love this, man. You're going to take us to the Caps, who all of a sudden have themselves a little bit of a losing streak, but they're taking on Boston. And boy, you're choosing the rookie? Is that what you're doing here?
Okay, so just want to be clear about this. We have a long shot goal today. I would say a smaller unit on this. Ryan Leonard for the Capitals. He's making his NHL debut. He signed his pro contract yesterday with the Caps. He went to BC. He had an incredible year at BC. He's making his NHL debut at Boston, at the TD Garden, the place he's played at plenty of times throughout the Beanpot when he was at BC. So, again, plus 550, these are not the same odds as what we're betting minus 110 on a side. Like, the implied probability is far lower at plus 550. Not to mention the fact that he's making his NHL debut. I want to buy into a little bit of the fun, take like a quarter unit on this, and put it for a player making his NHL debut at a place he's played for. Now, we know that the Caps, again, on a losing streak, I expect them to bounce back overall. I wouldn't lay the minus, 220 or so on them. I think you can look to them in regulation. That's minus 130. They did clinch a spot, but they're still in a spot where they need to win to secure their seeding.
I love that you went that way. I think that's great because I'd rather have that bet in my pocket than watch it unfold there. And the kid signed a contract yesterday. It would be just an absolute great story and a great payday at that as well. So, and they need a win, and Boston's tanking. So I think the stars are lining up for us there. Talk to me here though, Tom. Look ahead. We got plenty of time before the Final Four here, but what's your initial thought? Who's playing for a national championship?
I think it's going to be Florida and Duke. I really do. I think that's what it comes down to. My concern with Auburn is, as I said the other day, if Broome isn't scoring, if you look back at the most recent game, he had 30. The next highest player on the team had 10. I forget who was coming off the bench for them. He had 10 points. And else was so if he has an off night and they lock him down on defense, where is the offense coming from? So I like Florida, and if he's not scoring, Florida's going to win this game by multiple possessions. Like, it's a 2.5-point spread. They could win this game by, I'm not going to say 10 or 15 points, but like comfortably 6-7 points. I think Florida can win this if they can keep him under control. We don't know where the scoring's coming from the rest of the team.
Yep, we got Broome. Did not practice, has not practiced here. Still got I'm sure he's going to go, but how effective he'll be in that game, we don't know. I can't wait to watch Houston and Duke. A repeat of that Sweet 16 battle a year ago where first one to 50 wins. I think it's going to be a little different this year, but my goodness, a lot of great basketball still ahead. Tom, always a pleasure. We'll talk to you again as Game Time Decisions continues on the grid.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
All right, welcome back in Game Time Decisions here on the SportsGrid Network. I'm Joe Raineri. Appreciate you stopping by as we are off and running with the slate of games on the diamond here tonight. Major League Baseball, Texas out in front 1-0 quickly in the top of the first against the Cincinnati Reds. No score heading into the bottom of the first in Miami with the Marlins taking on the Mets, and we got plenty more getting ready to go coming up over the next hour. But let's not forget, we got plenty happening on the ice here, especially tonight as we get a little closer here to the postseason. Nothing like Stanley Cup playoffs once we can end the regular season, that is. Joe Madden joining us here. And Joe, I'm looking forward to seeing what my Panthers do here after they got embarrassed at home on Sunday against the Montreal Canadiens 4-2. Big fight at the end because of a slap shot and yada, yada, yada. But here we go. Canadians at home. I'm seeing 6, even 5.5 for a total, but I do think it's the backup goalie for the Panthers and not Bobrovsky, because they got a pretty big game coming up this week as well.
Yeah, they absolutely do. Looking at their look ahead situation tomorrow with the Toronto Maple Leafs is huge. We know they're battling it out with them and the Tampa Bay Lightning in the Atlantic for that first spot. So it's definitely going to be on their minds tomorrow, but they're going to want that revenge factor here with the Montreal Canadiens. Montreal just has seemed to have their way with Florida this season. And you look at Mikkola and that slap shot that he did throw down the ice at the end of that last game. Now, that slap shot did result in a $5,000 fine for him. It started a huge scrap out there on the ice, Joe. And you know these teams are going to be scrappy tonight. And that comes my problem with the Florida Panthers tonight. Isn't that last game? They went 0-2 on the power play. We did see the conversion for Montreal, converting 2 of their 3. Montreal actually has a really strong kill out there on the ice. And I think this is going to be a hard one for the Florida Panthers to get the win. I could see them getting up, but I think Montreal continues to fight to the bitter end because they're also playing to hold on to a wild card spot, and Vanacek getting the start for the Florida Panthers. So I do think this is one where you look at Montreal, look at their team total. Over 2.5 goals is coming in at -118. Vanacek in his career has a below 900 save percentage versus the Montreal Canadiens. And Caulfield didn't get on the board in that last game for Montreal either. So I'm looking for a big night out of him here versus Florida.
All right, looking down the card here tonight. I mean, eventually Washington's going to win a game, right? They're not just going to keep losing here. I don't think they've lost 4 in a row here all season long, but they got the Bruins tonight. You would think on paper that seems like a pretty easy Washington win, or is it?
Well, you know, the Boston Bruins want to get into that spoiler role here, but it's going to be a hard job for them versus Charlie Lindgren. And that's where it comes down to. You look at Charlie Lindgren, Joe, in 5 meetings versus the Boston Bruins. He's been able to get 2 shutouts in those 5, and he's kind of alternated giving up 2 or 3 goals or getting that shutout over those 5. It is the turn to get the shutout here. And with how the Capitals haven't been playing their best hockey as of late, I wouldn't be surprised if he got it. Now, I'm not going to play it tonight, but I will look at Boston's team total. Boston has a team total of 2.5. I'll take that to the under. Now, it's a little juicy at -135, but I definitely think worth it. And then I think you look at the Washington Capitals here to have a big day. We know Ovechkin is chasing Wayne Gretzky's records, and I'm looking for him to get those goals on Swayman. He's faced Swayman 13 times. In those 13 times, we have seen 11 goals out of Ovi in those. And I think there's such a possibility for him not to only get 1 goal, but to get 2 goals in tonight's matchup. So give me Ovi for the 1 goal at -105. Give me him for the 2+ goals at +650. Or you could just look at those points tonight. The Boston Bruins have been giving up those goals. Their kill isn't great. Their power play is basically non-existent. I think the Capitals win this one in a 5-2 style game, Joe.
Talk about desperate teams here. Ottawa has got everything to play for. Buffalo, pretty much spoiler. I guess that would be it here. Usually we just look at the total in this game, Joe, but are we looking towards Ottawa in this one as well?
Yeah, I have to look towards Ottawa. You look at Allmark coming in here, and he's been so solid over the last month here. He's won 6 of his past 8 starts. He's got a .910 save percentage. Now, when we look at him versus the Buffalo Sabres in his career, those numbers just go up. He's got a .929 save percentage, and I know the majority of those games was when he was with Boston. So we look at that last game with the Ottawa Senators. He didn't get that support from the defense. He allowed 4 goals, but was on 34 shots on net. We look at the Ottawa Senators here at home. I'm expecting that defense to really step up in this matchup. and not give the Buffalo Sabres the opportunity, because Buffalo has been scoring. We know they're capable of playing that spoiler role. They've gone, 6-3 in their last 9. If only they could do this all season, then I would be cashing my ticket for the Buffalo Sabres to make the playoffs, and that's just not the case this year. So looking at this, I'm looking for Buffalo to struggle to score, because I think Ottawa really comes out nice and strong. Give me the team total under 2.5 at -104 for the Buffalo Sabres. But just to note, we're not seeing Brady Tkachuk out there, but I do think you look at Cousins again versus his former team. Now, the first time versus them since coming over to the Ottawa Senators when being traded, he was able to put a point on the board. I'm looking for him to be impactful. He hasn't been in the last couple games for the Sens, but between him, Batherson, and a couple other players out here, I think we're going to see a good night from the Ottawa Senators and get the win.
Like in Ottawa here tonight. And how about our St. Louis Blues? Do they continue their trek to the postseason against Detroit?
Oh, they absolutely have to. Looking at Jordan Binnington, what he's been able to do since the month of February, it's been phenomenal. 12-2-1 with a 2.26 goals against average and a 912 save percentage. The Detroit Red Wings are going to look to play an upset role here. They're still fighting for a playoff spot, and they would love to get the win here over the St. Louis Blues, because all of their hopes for the playoffs does count on them starting to turn this around and get these wins. They won that last game versus the Bruins, but with how weak this power play is, their power play is strong, the kill is the weakness here, and if they play a scrappy game, which I'm expecting, I think they'll struggle. So I'm looking at this one tight, low-scoring defensive game. Give me the overtime bet here, Joe, at +350.
Love it. Should be a great night of hockey on the ice here tonight, Joe. We appreciate it as always as Game Time Decisions continues on the grid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The team we expected to be a national championship frontrunner all season long and even before the big dance. That is the Duke Blue Devils.
I don't care that people are like, oh, anticlimactic. You have the 4 best teams lined up, superstar coaches, young coaches, old coaches, veteran teams, young teams. This has got a lot of great storylines heading to the Final Four this weekend.
Only on SportsGrid.
They won the game, and a lot of people, I think, are, prematurely writing them off. Like, I heard a lot of people say they're not even making the playoffs this year.
But I give them credit for right now, Scott. I'm not going to pencil them to win the division yet. Let's see how they do. What I give the Red Sox credit for, and this sounds like silly, I give them credit for actually trying this year.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Time Decisions here on the SportsGrid Network as we look to wrap up our number 1 together. Much more to get to. We're going to dive into this NBA slate with some intriguing games tonight. Getting ready to kick off here in just a couple of minutes with the opening tip between the Knicks and the Philadelphia 76ers. But we do have an update in Major League Baseball here. The two early games, both teams not wasting a whole lot of time to get on the board here. The Miami Marlins in the bottom of the first inning, a leadoff double, I believe, followed by a Stowers home run to center field, makes it a 2-0 Marlins lead. Top of the second inning, Sandy Alcantara went 1-2-3 there. Lindor, Soto, and Alonso 1-2-3 in the top of the first inning. But the Marlins already a little bit different, that they're actually giving Alcantara a lead to play with, something they have not done, well, pretty much his entire career there. But top of the second inning with the Mets now trailing 2-0 there, and the Texas Rangers on top thanks to a run in the top of the first inning over the Cincinnati Reds. Nathan Eovaldi on the mound in that one. So as you can see, we've already got plenty of Major League Baseball going on. We also still have plenty of college basketball going on. And how about a little breaking news earlier today, as we forget that the NIL era of college basketball makes hiring coaches a interesting path for universities, given the fact that you got to be in it to win it. The portal is open. You need to be able to have your guys ready and, able to spend some money. And Maryland, who just a couple of days ago, we learned, of course, that Kevin Willard left for the job at Villanova, kind of leaving Maryland scratching their head after they pretty much offered him exactly what he wanted, only for us to find out today, I think they're going to be just okay, as they hire Buzz Williams away from Texas A&M. And Buzz, of course, one of the better and tougher coaches in the SEC. You got to love Buzz Williams, who spent the last 6 seasons in College Station, and of course helped Texas A&M to 3 consecutive berths in the NCAA tournament. They lost to number 5 Michigan in the second round of the tournament last month. But Buzz Williams is on his way to Maryland. So Maryland, great job, and I think a great hire for them. However, Derek Queen, Angel Reese, a lot of players that were on the team with Willard as the head coach, man, that portal got crushed by Maryland players looking to leave. But maybe, just maybe, hiring Buzz Williams might calm the waters there in Maryland. Great job by them. No word on what Texas A&M is going to do. But if I'm Buzz Williams, I probably want to compete in the Big Ten more than I do in the SEC. It'll be interesting how the money works in Maryland, what kind of NIL money, because we all know College Station's got plenty enough money there, but you're competing against the Floridas and the Alabamas and the Auburns and the Texases. So Buzz decides, I'm out. I'm heading to Maryland, and that is going to be a very interesting portal signing here coming up very quickly. But we've also got Final Four action coming up here in just a couple of days. Florida taking on Auburn, an all SEC Final Four side of the bracket. And then, of course, Duke taking on the other number 1, Houston, in a rematch from what we got a year ago in the Sweet 16, in which Houston hobbled into the tournament and had an opportunity to take down Duke, and Duke rallied to beat them 54-50, but Houston did not have their best player. It was a tough fate for the Houston team, who has a number of players on that team from a year ago that Duke beat. They got them all back here for the Final Four and another crack at the Duke Blue Devils. Meanwhile, Duke had a whole lot of new faces, a lot of new freshmen from a year ago. So should be a fascinating Final Four, and we'll talk more about that coming up next hour. We're also going to dive into this NBA slate as the Golden State Warriors looking to continue rolling over the Memphis Grizzlies. We'll talk about it as Game Time Decisions continue.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The team we expected to be a national championship frontrunner all season long and even before the big dance. That is the Duke Blue Devils.
I don't care that people are like, oh, anticlimactic. You have the 4 best teams lined up, superstar coaches, young coaches, old coaches, veteran teams, young teams. This has got a lot of great storylines heading to the Final Four this weekend.
Only on SportsGrid.
They won the game, and a lot of people, I think, are, prematurely writing them off. Like, I heard a lot of people say they're not even making the playoffs this year.
What I give them credit for right now, Scott, I'm not going to pencil them to win the division yet. Let's see how they do. What I give the Red Sox credit for, and this sounds like silly, I give them credit for actually trying this year.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in. Off and running another hour together here. Game Time Decisions on this first day of April, if you can believe it. Unreal. And we've got plenty happening right now. Major League Baseball back in the swing of things, including right now a 2-1 Marlins lead over the Mets as Brandon Nimmo leads off the top of the second inning with a home run to cut that lead of the Marlins in half. So runs are coming right now with the Mets and Marlins. And, of course, we got the Yankees in the Bronx getting ready to take on Arizona. And the start for Corbin Burns, first time in an Arizona Diamondbacks uniform. We'll see if those torpedo bats actually play a role in this one tonight for the Yankees. Also, a huge slate in the NBA. We do have some news coming in that Karl Anthony Towns is a late scratch for the Knicks. Not that it matters as they take on the G League Philadelphia 76ers. Maybe, just maybe it matters, or our good friend Adam Kaufman, who might have been looking at a Karl Anthony Towns prop, which is the only way I see this affecting this game, Adam. But the Knicks getting ready to battle the Sixers here, and the total has also come crashing down in this one here, 219.5. I'm a little worried about this Knicks team here heading into the final stages of the regular season. How about you?
More than worried about the team. I just flat out don't trust them. Now, I'll start acknowledging that obviously there's no Jalen Brunson. And no Jalen Brunson, obviously tonight, no Karl Anthony Towns, as you said, means the team that is even close to what it should be come the postseason. But as far as just this game tonight, the writing has kind of been on the wall for hours now. The Cat might not go. And as you said, just 2 minutes ago, we got the official word that he is going to sit and Mitchell Robinson will start in his place. What was interesting, though, was the line only moved a half point. The Knicks were laying 13.5 points. So that tells you, I guess, one of two things. Either one, the Knicks just Vegas was reading the same tea leaves that we were, Joe, and it was looking like he wasn't going to play. So we had already seen, the movement off of 14 and a half down to the 13 and a half, or just the belief that Towns maybe doesn't move the line that much. And to be perfectly honest, I was already more inclined. I didn't, full disclosure, I didn't bet it. This is just a stay away kind of game for me when it comes to the sides. But I was already more inclined to take Philadelphia with the points when I thought the Cat was going to be in there. Now he's not, and we're still getting plus 13. I'd invest in Philly. I wouldn't be at all shocked, if we're being, truthful with ourselves, if Philadelphia wins this game outright. If I'm going to invest in the spread, I might consider sprinkling the money line. As far as props go, the only guy that I would want to invest in, the only one that I just don't understand, other than, I guess, going over on Josh Hart rebounds or something like that, take him to double-double or something, Grimes. You mentioned Grimes before, 21 and a half points. I know he's coming off of 15 last time out and his minutes were limited, but generally, ever since this role that he is in, absent Maxey, obviously, and no Embiid and George and so on, he is a consistent 20-plus point guy. And so over 21 and a half points in a game that I think is going to be competitive and not the blowout that many out there are probably expecting, and even acknowledging again that I think Philadelphia is live to win this one. If that happens, Grimes is a big part of it. So I'd go over on his points.
Another game that's fascinating to me, and I get why people have been betting the over like they know the score already, is Phoenix and Philadelphia. No Durant. We know that for at least a week. But both these teams are struggling. I mean, 3 losses in a row now for Phoenix. 4, I believe, in a row now for Milwaukee, who are already down Lillard for the rest of the way. The Suns are allowing 121 or more points in 4 of their last 6. I don't see a lot of defense in this game either, but I can't trust either team to win this game. Can you?
If I could, it's Milwaukee. And I don't know about laying the 6.5 points, but as far as, if you're a money line parlay kind of person, as I like to be from time to time, and you've heard me talk about it here on the show before, obviously, I do think Milwaukee ultimately does win this game. I just don't know that they, really blow them out. But look, you said it. No Kevin Durant, and there's no Beal. Royce O'Neal even got ruled out. Like, the Suns are just, they're falling apart. It's just the Devin Booker show. And Booker, I would ladder up. If the Suns are going to stay in this game, or even, like you said, potentially win it, then Booker is probably going for 30, 35, maybe 40. Again, I would trust the latter in that situation because the shot volume is going to be there for Booker with no Durant. He's not going to be facilitating to anyone. There is no one to pass to that you can trust. Now, it's not like the Bucks are unaware of that. They're going to do their best to take him out of the game, but I think Booker, when he rolls hot, is a guy that has a chance to potentially take over. On the other side, it has to be Giannis because, again, no Damian Lillard, as you mentioned. So Giannis, he should be good for a 20-10 game at the very least. Don't be surprised by 30 and a dozen. Again, I like Booker. I believe the Bucks will win the game just because the Suns are a sinking ship. And yes, mathematically, they're still right there, a game out in the play-in tournament. They're not going to make the play-in. They're not going to make the playoffs. They're time.
We got another interesting game to end the night here with Minnesota and Denver. This is a series that Minnesota has kind of dominated over the last year and a half here. And, of course, handled business there in the playoffs last year. They've done a pretty good job already this year against them. This has become quite a little rivalry, Minnesota and Denver, and Minnesota getting what, 3.5 now? It's been all Denver money most of the day here today.
Yeah, it's a fun little rivalry, and we've seen Jokic star in it. We've seen Ant star in it. Murray has starred in it. All these, and I'm talking specifically about this year, never mind past playoff matchups or anything like that. The other thing is, this is just a really important game on both sides. More so for Minnesota, obviously, because the Timberwolves are trying to get themselves into the postseason without having to deal with the play-in tournament. Right now, they are a play-in team. They are even with the Clippers and those 7-8 seeds, sitting only a half game behind Golden State, which, as we know, makes that Golden State-Memphis game immensely important for those two teams tonight as they sit 5 and 6 respectively in the Western Conference. But with Houston coming off a rare loss, because that team has only dropped 2 out of its last 14, with a rare loss last night, Denver is now sitting only a game and a half back of that 2 seed in the West, which, look, the Nuggets have won a championship recently. I don't think seeding is an end-all, be-all. They're going to prioritize health more than anything else because they know what they're capable of, and you're sitting in a top 4 slot anyway, which gets you home court in at least the opening round of the Western Conference playoffs. That said, you want to move up as much as you can. Are you going to catch the Thunder? Of course not, but I do think they're going to go out and they're not going to pack it in this game. You're not going to see them roll over in the fourth quarter, and Minnesota in many ways has a season on the line, so this is a fun one, I think.
I can't wait to see it because both these teams want to get it going in the right direction heading into the playoffs. I mean, it used to be Denver is automatic at home in a spot like this, but we got to make sure we know who's playing for them as well, because it is that time of year after all where we get those sudden last minute, oh, Murray's not playing tonight. Oh, Aaron Gordon's still not playing tonight. So you gotta make sure you understand. And the good news is that one doesn't tip off until 10 o'clock Eastern time tonight, Adam. So we got plenty enough time to scream and yell the minute they rule guys out here. But 3.5 is that current number, and we'll see if it gets any movement at all. Appreciate it, Adam. As always, the NBA getting ready to roll, and so are we on Game Time Decisions.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts, so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're gonna go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's gonna help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
All right, welcome back in Game Time Decisions here on the SportsGrid Network. I'm Joe Raineri. Appreciate you stopping in as April is here, and so is the first month of the Major League Baseball season. Couple of games underway already, including the Miami Marlins up on top of the New York Mets, 2-1 here, top of the third. We also have the Yankees. Quick 1-2-3, it looks like, for Will Warren in the Bronx, as Corbin Burns getting ready to take the mound for the Arizona Diamondbacks. That'll be our first look at Corbin Burns in a Diamondbacks uniform, as he has, over the years, done a pretty good job of limiting what the New York Yankees can do, especially last year. Did a really good job against the Yankees here. We'll see if those torpedo bats, which everybody seems to want to talk about here, which, if we're all being honest, it's not like the Yankees are the only ones who have access or can utilize these bats. As you can see there, the Phillies, Ellie De La Cruz of Cincinnati last night, everybody's got access to the bats. So this idea that it's just a Yankee thing is a bit ridiculous. Not to mention that, hey, kudos to those guys that seem to be hitting the ball pretty good here with these bats. I would caution everyone, we are 4 or 5 games into the season. It is a long season, and not everyone, and I don't believe Aaron Judge uses one. In fact, I believe Judge has opted not to utilize those bats, but a few guys in the Yankees order have. But okay, great. You still got to put the barrel of the bat on the ball. You still got to have exit velocity. You still got to read the pitchers right. All of this will all even out in a 162-game season. I can promise you that. But so far, so good for the Yankees and other teams and certain players that have been able to utilize it. But again, let's not make excuses that just because, you put a bat in somebody's hand that's made a little bit differently, that all of a sudden we have this giant crazy edge to the Yankees or to anybody. No, we don't. Pitchers have more than enough opportunities to be able to get quality hitters out by making sure they don't leave the ball over the center of the plate, because then it really won't make a difference what bat they have, whether it's a torpedo bat or not. They're probably going to crush it. And that's what Major League Baseball hitters do. So I think it's fun to talk about now because the Yankees have been absolutely crushing the ball. But I think it's laughable that you're talking about a team whose nickname is the Bronx Bombers, and we're all shocked that they're hitting home runs. I believe Corbin Burns was not interested in his torpedo bats here, as Goldschmidt went down, I think, rather quickly in a strikeout for Corbin Burns. So there you go. We'll see how the rest of the game goes, but a bunch of games underway right now here as the early slate is off and running. We do have an update, by the way. The first NIT semifinal game is underway with North Texas 13-2 over UC Irvine. And we got about 13 minutes left in the first half. So that total, I would imagine, I think it closed 127.5. The total's hovering around 122.5, 123 right now. Listen, North Texas is notorious for slowing it down, playing defense, getting rebounds, and drawing you out here. UC Irvine has been pretty good at doing the same this year, except they've done a pretty good job, all seniors on this team of UC Irvine. But right now, they're struggling through the first 7 minutes at the Hinkle Fieldhouse in Indy for the semifinal of the NIT. 7.5 right now is what North Texas is laying. So if you are so inclined maybe to jump into this game live, now might not be a bad time if you were looking for UC Irvine. I think, if I'm not mistaken, North Texas closed as a 1-point favorite in this one, but I think they'll have plenty of opportunities to be able to come back in this game. So I might dabble a little bit here and take the points with UC Irvine at 7.5. Oregon State and UCF in a battle. in the Crown tournament right now, 65-64. We're keeping an eye on that game as well. And we talked about it earlier. We've got plenty of NBA action coming up in just about 10 minutes. No Kevin Durant, and the Phoenix Suns, sitting at 35-40 on the season, are struggling, to say the least here. And they're struggling because they lack size and they don't have enough defense. And I don't think the Milwaukee side is really in any better spot. They have been absolutely terrible, having lost 4 in a row. And I think it's gone back even further than that with how bad this Milwaukee team has been playing. They lost Lillard last week. We know that. And we heard that. But it's been a rough go here for the Milwaukee Bucks. They still have Giannis. I think Brook Lopez is going to have himself a heck of a night, but with no Damian Lillard, boy, oh boy, it's going to be rough. And by the way, Bradley Beal remains out with a hamstring injury for Phoenix. No clear timetable for him to return. Durant, they're hoping a week. I don't think that's happening either. I do think the total, which opened up at 220.5, we're looking at 225 right now, 225.5. I still think that's not a bad way to look here, is neither of these two teams are going to do a whole lot defensively to prevent the other team from scoring. I think points are coming here. I think the over, or even the Milwaukee Bucks team total going up and over, may not be a bad look. And the game I'm looking forward to here tonight, of course, is the Golden State Warriors taking on the Memphis Grizzlies. I am all about fading train wreck teams this time of year, and that is exactly what Memphis is. But the market is disagreeing with me. We got a lot of movement in the marketplace with the Memphis and Golden State Warrior game. We'll take a look at it as Game Time Decisions continues here on the Grid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The team we expected to be a national championship frontrunner all season long and even before the big dance. That is the Duke Blue Devils.
I don't care that people are like, oh, anticlimactic. You have the 4 best teams lined up, superstar coaches, young coaches, old coaches, veteran teams, young teams. This has got a lot of great storylines heading to the Final Four this weekend.
Only on SportsGrid.
They won the game, and a lot of people, I think, are, prematurely writing them off. Like, I heard a lot of people say they're not even making the playoffs this year.
What I give them credit for right now, Scott, I'm not going to pencil them to win the division yet. Let's see how they do. What I give the Red Sox credit for, and this sounds like silly, I give them credit for actually trying this year.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in here. Game Time Decisions on this Tuesday now, April the 1st, as we've turned the page on March, and we are getting ready, of course, for a lot of playoffs, getting ready to take center stage in a couple of weeks. The NBA as well as the NHL, as the quest to get a Stanley Cup champion and a world champion in the association, that will begin. But we still have a couple of weeks here remaining in the regular season of both of those leagues. And we got the start of Major League Baseball season. You got to love having baseball back, and we've got plenty of it underway right now on this Tuesday. A lot of interleague games. The scheduling is very interesting this time of year, given the fact that we have just 2 National League games, one of them being the Mets and Marlins, now knotted up at 2 apiece here in this game here. Bottom of the 3rd inning. It is 2-2, Marlins and the Mets. We only had 2 American League games. And, of course, we have 9 interleague games, and including the Yankees and the Diamondbacks right now. Will Warren handling his business here for the Yankees. No hits, no runs for the Diamondbacks so far, and Corbin Burns worked his way around the top half of that Yankee order, 1, 2, 3. They are in the top of the 2nd inning in that one. The Tampa Bay Rays playing at Yankee Stadium in Tampa. They are all over the Pittsburgh Pirates here early on. It's 3-0 Tampa in this game as they got up in the bottom of the 1st, and I still think they're batting, in fact. The kid Harrington that Pittsburgh called up, not great. They are hitting him like it's batting practice right now. 3-0 quick, the Rays on top of Pittsburgh. Shane Baz on the mound for the Rays, so Pittsburgh might find some runs hard to come by. And the Blue Jays, believe it or not, Berrios has made it out of the inning without giving up a run. Couldn't say that in his first start, but the Nats and the Blue Jays, no score there heading in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Now, some of the games coming up that we're going to keep an eye on and some interesting storylines, of course, would be the Royals and the Brewers, as the Brewers, well, they don't have a win yet. They're 0-4. They're at home. Going to be sending another rookie pitcher to the mound here tonight to try to stop the bleeding. The Brewers have been hitting the ball pretty well, scoring some runs. They just can't pitch. They can't keep the other team from scoring. So we'll see if the Brewers can get that win. If not the Brewers, maybe the Twins, who are also winless so far in the season. They're playing the White Sox. S. Woods Richardson on the mound there for the Twins, who are hitting a collective $143 with nearly a 25% strikeout rate. Not good. Not good at all. Not to mention that the Twins have been a lot of rumors. The team is up for sale. There is a lot going on behind the scenes with the Minnesota Twins that it could go from bad to worse quickly in this first quarter of the season with the Minnesota Twins. Definitely want to keep an eye on that. And while, yes, the White Sox are not a good team, it's a 162-game season, and they have already won 2 games. And Shane Smith, the kid that they've got going here tonight, a lot of positive things to say about this kid, hitting triple digits in spring training here. And for a team that's hitting a $143, call me crazy. I don't think I want to see a guy hitting 100 on the radar gun and think things on a 35-degree night in Chicago are somehow going to get better. And if you're talking about winless teams tonight, well, the Braves, you would say, they can't be winless. No, they're winless, and they've got Chris Sale on the mound, and you would say, wow, that's got to be great news for him. Well, you can't score. You ain't beating the Dodgers. And right now, the Braves, listen, they're going to get Acuna back. They're going to get healthier up and down this lineup. This Braves team offensively will be just fine as the season moves on. But right now, they had to start the season against the Padres. Now they got to go to the Dodgers, and they got to take on Dustin May here, who will be going for LA. And they sit here 6-0 on the season as the Braves sit 0-4. They're going to need Chris Sale to keep runs off the board with this Dodgers lineup. Easier said than done, but they're going to have to need the starting pitching and the bullpen to limit the runs until the bats can get going. So which one of those winless teams wins a game here tonight? I don't know. We'll break it down as Game Time Decisions continues on the grid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The team we expected to be a national championship frontrunner all season long and even before the big dance. That is the Duke Blue Devils.
I don't care that people are like, oh, anticlimactic. You have the 4 best teams lined up, superstar coaches, young coaches, old coaches, veteran teams, young teams. This has got a lot of great storylines heading to the Final Four this weekend.
Only on SportsGrid.
They won the game, and a lot of people, I think, are, prematurely writing them off. Like, I heard a lot of people say they're not even making the playoffs this year.
What I give them credit for right now, Scott, I'm not going to pencil them to win the division yet. Let's see how they do. What I give the Red Sox credit for, and this sounds like silly, I give them credit for actually trying this year.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Time Decisions here on the SportsGrid Network. I'm Joe Raineri. Appreciate you stopping by as we are keeping our eye across Major League Baseball. Plenty of games underway right now. Many more still to come here. And like we had mentioned last segment, not good your first week of the season and still looking for that first win. And we still have 3 teams on the diamond here tonight looking to do that, with the Minnesota Twins as well as the Milwaukee Brewers. And, of course, the late game tonight, the Atlanta Braves sitting winless here, taking on the Dodgers. That is coming up at just after 10 o'clock Eastern time. You've got the Cubs and the Athletics also part of that late night slate, and Detroit and Seattle, which might very well have what we think is going to be the pitcher's battle of the day here. And you got to love it as you got Casey Mize going up against Logan Gilbert, 2 guys that have been very good. In fact, even some folks saw Casey Mize over spring training. Pretty good. Struck out 25 in just 19 innings and only allowed 4 runs on 11 hits. Apparently, there is a lot changed mechanically over the summer there, with Mize changing his arm angle a little bit, getting much more movement on his fastball. He's also throwing a new pitch. He's throwing a splitter a little bit differently than what he has. So usually in Major League Baseball, pitchers have the advantage early in the season. And we're going to see if Casey Mize can keep this Seattle team off balance a little bit here. And you would think he could, because, well, Seattle has had some trouble offensively early on. They strike out a ton, unfortunately, here. They've left a ton of guys in scoring position here. I mean, almost 41% of their plate appearances have ended in a strikeout or a walk. I want you to think about that for the Seattle Mariners early on. If you can get a guy that is dealing and dealing well, my goodness, you are not going to get a whole lot of runs. Number one, we've seen this total in this Detroit-Seattle game come crashing down to 6.5. I believe the first 5 total, which was 4, is now 3.5. Also going to be very difficult to get runs either way. I think Logan Gilbert has proven already his first go around that he is somebody, especially at home, that you want to back in Seattle. It is a pitcher's park to begin with. So when you get 2 guys early in the season that can deal like these two, I don't mind the under in this spot at all. I think Casey Mize, maybe even a strikeout prop might not be a bad way to look in the nightcap here, as that is just one of a few of the late slate of games coming up here tonight. And we're really looking at this point with the Blue Jays, 5 hits, just 1 run right now in the bottom of the second inning over the Nats. Williams is having a hard time not finding the plate, like right over the plate, apparently, as Toronto swinging the bat well. But you got to ask yourself, we posed a question earlier. We'll pose it to Dave Sherapan joining us as he gets ready to take over coming up top of the hour for In-Game Live. We got 3 winless teams playing here tonight, Dave. Those Brewers coming up against the Royals, the Twins against the Cardinals, and, of course, the Atlanta Braves against the Dodgers. And I don't know that any of them win here tonight. What about you?
Good to see you, Joe. Yeah, I don't know, but I wore the Brewer stuff because I think they have the best shot of it tonight.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I agree.
Okay, I think of those ones that you mentioned. I got the stats here. Thanks to my buddies over at MLB. Milwaukee's minus 32 run differential to start the season is the worst by any team through 4 games in the modern era. In the modern era, despite, some people's explanations of it, it's since 1901. So that is a long time. The Brewers were the only team in baseball last season without a 4-game losing streak. So now they avoid the look their third 0-5 start in franchise history. The last time they started 0-5, 1984 and 2003, they finished with less than 70 wins. Not saying it's a game that's going to determine their season wins, but you got to right the ship, and you got to do it at home. And there's no shame in losing the Yankees and the Torpedoes and all that other stuff, but the Torpedoes are everywhere. It's not just the Yankee thing. So maybe it wasn't just the bats. Maybe the Brewers got to get it going tonight.
Yeah, maybe if you stop throwing batting practice during the games, you'd be okay. Yeah. Torpedoes don't seem to have any effect on Corbin Burns right now. Still no score in that game, although Will Warren is kind of dishing pretty well here for the Yankees. They're in the top of the 3rd inning. Still no runs, no hits for either team. Still kind of weird to see Corbin Burns in an Arizona uniform there, Dave. But this was going to be the big test, right? Can the Yankees and the Torpedo Bats hit 15 home runs off of Corbin Burns and company? Well, they haven't done that so far, so we got ourselves an old-fashioned pitcher's battle right now.
We do, and let me see what that game closed. I want to make sure before I say it. That thing closed today at 8.5, which I'd say it's a good number, but it's the way the Yankees are hitting a little bit surprising, and the way the Diamondbacks bullpen has been giving up runs. What you start to see early in baseball is you got to figure out who's got the good bullpens and who doesn't. And we're not sure yet, obviously, but this is what you need to figure out between lineups and what order guys hit in, when they hit home runs and all that other stuff. Those are all fun props and different things to bet on. But in game, what is that number right now? I'm afraid to even look. Like, how fast is that dropping? The Diamondbacks and the Yankees in game number is down to 6.5. So, hello, we're dropping it a run an inning essentially until somebody scores. So if they get through the third here, it's going to be 6.5 with major juice under, or even 5.5. It's crazy to think about.
It's kind of nuts the way it's dropping as fast as it is. You're right, 6.5 across the board. But Arizona is still a slight favorite. They closed as a slight favorite here at Yankee Stadium as well. Not so good for Harrington and your Pittsburgh Pirates here. Gave up a quick 3 spot early here to Tampa, who the bats have been pretty good, but Shane Baz is not. He doesn't feel like a 3 or 4 starter, Dave, like a lot of guys are rolling out right now. Tampa, going to be interesting to see what it's like in July at that stadium outdoors. Not so much right now in April.
No, there's a lot of things going on down there, with Tampa playing in the Yankee spring training home. We had on BVB today, Noah Hiles, who's the beat reporter for the Pirates, talked about what it's like to go to the game there and different things, but he talked about Harrington being called up and said he doesn't throw hard. He's a pitcher's pitcher and, used a thinking man's pitcher. He even mentioned you would think of, not saying he is Greg Maddux, but that's the kind of pitcher. He's got to work corners. So bad first inning. Okay, that's fine. Let's keep this thing down. Maybe there won't be much more scoring. You probably get a much better number if you like the under before the game, which I thought was the side. We go from there. Pirates aren't scoring runs, Joe. It's a bad start.
That's the problem.
It's not good. They got to get through today. They got Skeens Day tomorrow. And then, oh, by the way, home opener series against the Yankees. I mean, there's a lot of interleague games. I heard you say it earlier. They opened up the season this year with a lot of interleague series. It's strange.
Kind of crazy, and not working out great for Atlanta either, who can't hit. But we'll talk more about the late slate of games, plus what's going on in the ice next on the.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The team we expected to be a national championship frontrunner all season long and even before the big dance. That is the Duke Blue Devils.
I don't care that people are like, oh, anticlimactic. You have the 4 best teams lined up, superstar coaches, young coaches, old coaches, veteran teams, young teams. This has got a lot of great storylines heading to the Final Four this weekend.
Only on SportsGrid.
They won the game, and a lot of people, I think, are, prematurely writing them off. Like, I heard a lot of people say they're not even making the playoffs this year.
What I give them credit for right now, Scott, I'm not going to pencil them to win the division yet. Let's see how they do. What I give the Red Sox credit for, and this sounds like silly, I give them credit for actually trying this year.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Time Decisions here on the Sports Grid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Dave Sherapan, who'll be taking over coming up top of the hour. We'll pass the baton for a little in-game live, and we got plenty going on here tonight. Major League Baseball underway. Corbin Carroll takes Will Warren yard for a 2-run home run, putting the Diamondbacks on top of the Yankees here, heading to the bottom of the third. The Marlins have just put 2 more on the board against Kodai Senga, huh? Look at that, 4-2 over the Mets here, Dave. And who had the Mets scoring, or the Marlins scoring 4 runs here against the Mets and through 4 innings? But this is where we're at right now, this early in the season. It's always interesting. But it's Atlanta that I'm most worried about here, Dave, because I figure once they get everyone healthy, the offense will figure out its own way. But my goodness, I mean, to have Chris Sale out there going tonight, you're like, all right, we can finally get off the schneid. And then you're like, but we can't score, and I got to go up against that's May. It just seems like we're going to see this a lot with this Dodgers team this year, aren't we?
Yes, we are. This is really interesting. The Dodgers are looking to match the 1933 Yankees, who went 7-0 for the best start by a defending World Series champion. No one else has done it. The story is about Chris Sale, and he hasn't pitched in Dodger Stadium. This is the first time since he struck out the side to close out Game 5 of the 2018 World Series for the Red Sox. But really, the story for me is Dustin May, who's making his first appearance since May 17th, 2023. That's a span, for you math guys, of 685 days. That we need to see, right? What is he bringing? Does it even matter? The Dodgers are going to win, 150 games? I mean, I don't know what their adjusted season win total is, but they're making it look easy. They're down in games. When they're down, you bet them in game. You can lay the run line comfortably, it feels like. This is cheap. This is really, really cheap. And this also might be the best price that you get Chris Sale all season. So something to consider. I'm not going to come on here and say, you should just bet against the Dodgers until they lose. Because what if they start out the season 10-0? You'll be broke. We don't want to do that. The other game out west, though, Joe, before we run through the hockey real quick, is what about the Padres? The Padres are a sneaky good story. Oh, good try there. I was going to go with the A's, but the Padres, I did. That's all right. No, I was leading up to this. Big favorite. All right. Padres bullpen. We're talking about bullpens before. 18 2/3 consecutive scoreless frames dating back to the 5th inning on opening day.
Wow.
They're the only club that hasn't allowed a run in the 6th inning or later this season. So we're going to be watching that on In-Game Live going, if the Padres got the lead, it's a wrap. We'll just remind everybody they've been shutting it down. The other game that the Sammy had up there with the graphic, the A's, there was no shutdown yesterday. 18 runs, Joe, playing games in Sacramento, a minor league ballpark that apparently was going to play big, and maybe lead to some unders, but not yesterday. Cubs smoke them again.
I don't know. I mean, it's only 8. Severino looked pretty good, though, didn't he? And we got another home run here by somebody. It looks like the Yankees. 2-1 there. Yes. Jason Dominguez goes yard for the Yankees. Bottom half of that order takes Burns yard. So 2-1 now as the Diamondbacks still on top there. Run through these games to me on the ice tonight. I cannot believe Ottawa's losing 2-0 after 1 already. Ottawa's got everything to play for. Can't get it done. Columbus is all over Nashville. I thought the Florida-Montreal game would be interesting. Backup goalie for Florida. They got a pretty big one coming up against you-know-who, the Toronto Maple Leafs. But that's not enough at 1 apiece there. They're still in the first in that one as well.
Buffalo leading Ottawa is not surprising because Buffalo gets leads and then blows it. That's
a good point.
Play right on Ottawa. Washington destroys Boston. That's only a matter of time. They're already up 2-0 through 1. Ovechkin to score another goal. Hopefully, yes, he's chasing that record. Tampa and the Islanders should be a pseudo playoff game, despite the fact that they're not both in it for sure. But the Islanders are playing for their life every single night. So that one hopefully should stay close. We go out west. Edmonton is coming here to Vegas. They're already here. Edmonton is a play against right now. Not playing well at all. This Winnipeg and the Kings game, though. Joe, you want to talk about a peek into what Stanley Cup playoff hockey is going to be like? This game tonight, if you guys back east need something to watch, keep you up a little bit later, get involved with this one. The total, though, odds makers are funny.
Look at it.
5.5, but it's under minus 140. This is one of my biggest beefs. Like, just go to 5. It's okay.
Exactly.
If it falls 5, if it's 3-2, we'll give all the money back. But no one wants to lay 5.5 under 40.
Nope.
But if you want to, the books are welcoming it. They just won't move the number. So it's a pick'em game. We'll see it. We'll sit like this.
Yep.
I think it's going to gravitate more towards the middle. So you got minus 113 there. A lot of books are minus 120. It's going to close closer to minus 110 both sides. Watch that thing in game. It'll flip all over the place.
In a heartbeat.
Joe, are you partaking in the Crown at all? Because a lot of books took bets on the Crown and then pulled it off the board, didn't take it. In some states, I felt bad because in Vegas, got bets on it, take it on everything. But are you watching any of this? Because there's nobody at the gym.
I saw that because unfortunately I am watching it as UCF eked out a win against Oregon State. But, it's the first college basketball tournament where the top 4 teams get a financial prize. So we're not used to seeing that. And I get the trepidation by the books there, Dave. But we got Villanova coming up. We still have, NIT action here tonight. The good news is you and Mr. Opposite Picks coming up. You'll cover it all. We'll see you then. We'll close it out, though, as Game Time Decisions continues.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The team we expected to be a national championship frontrunner all season long and even before the big dance. That is the Duke Blue Devils.
I don't care that people are like, anticlimactic. You have the 4 best teams lined up, superstar coaches, young coaches, old coaches, veteran teams, young teams. This has got a lot of great storylines heading to the Final Four this weekend.
Only on SportsGrid.
They won the game, and a lot of people, I think, are, prematurely writing them off. Like, I heard a lot of people say they're not even making the playoffs this year.
What I give them credit for right now, Scott, I'm not going to pencil them to win the division yet. Let's see how they do. What I give the Red Sox credit for, and this sounds like silly, I give them credit for actually trying this year.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Time Decisions here as we look to close out this edition together. I'm Joe Raineri, and get ready for what is already a pretty great day of sports action. Plenty of Major League Baseball as the Yankees have gotten one back here in the bottom of the third. Corbin Burns on the mound for the Diamondbacks right now. It's a 2-1 game. Corbin Carroll went yard over Will Warren for a 2-run shot in the top of the third. Jason Dominguez has returned the favor in the bottom of the third. Yankees are threatening, though. First and second with just one out as Cody Bellinger is up at the plate. Tampa up 3-0 over the Pittsburgh Pirates. Toronto up 3-0 over the Washington Nationals. And the Mets are trailing by 2 as Miami with a couple of runs there in that bottom half of that fourth inning. Now a 4-2 lead over Kodai Senga and the Mets as it looks like Sandy Alcantara throwing pretty well here to this point. Both teams just 3 hits, but the Mets, 2 errors already in this game. Not good stuff. The NIT, the first half of the semifinals, is at the break, and part of the reason that you love hanging out with us here on the SportsGrid Network is because in real time we get to forward some information to you as it's happening. And we saw that North Texas and UC Irvine at Hinkle Fieldhouse here, that first game of the semifinals. Boy, North Texas was out to a 9-0 lead. They were out to a 24-8 lead. And you could have got UC Irvine as high as 9.5 points. And we had mentioned now might be a pretty decent time to take advantage of a crazy number because there is nothing about these two teams that should separate them by 9.5 points. And sure enough, we are at the break. 30-30 is what we have right now in that game. As what a finish to the half by UC Irvine. The winner of this game will take on the winner of the next game, which will be Loyola Chicago getting ready to take on Chattanooga in that one. So a lot of college basketball still to go. Plenty of NBA action as well underway. Portland up in front of Atlanta 26-23. There was an issue in this game with Trae Young. I believe he got his poked in the eye there. He is questionable to return in this game against Portland as they are up 3 with about 3 minutes to go in the first there. Also, Milwaukee, we told you, we did like the over, although for the over in Milwaukee and Phoenix to hit, the Suns might actually have to score. They're not doing that. 25-13 right now at the 3-minute mark left in the first on that one. No Kevin Durant, no Damian Lillard, no Bradley Beal. It's more a matter of who's not playing than actually who is playing with these two teams. A quick look on the ice. Also, Florida, Montreal knotted up at 1 apiece at the end of 1. Tampa gets on the board quickly against the Islanders, 1-0 there. Columbus out in front of Nashville, who's on the second of a back-to-back here, 3-1. Buffalo at the end of 1 on top of Ottawa, 2-0. We are getting ready coming up. Detroit, St. Louis, as well as Calgary and Utah over the next hour. And the good news is, well, we've got you covered because In-Game Live is coming your way here with Dave Sherapan, Scott Wetzel. They're going to keep their finger on the pulse of all of these games because we still have much more to get to here tonight, especially on the diamond in Major League Baseball as the San Francisco Giants taking on the Houston Astros. That game is coming up. And then the Guardians taking on the Padres and the Chicago Cubs taking on the Athletics of wherever they are right now. And of course, the late night game, Atlanta trying to get their first win against the Dodgers. Good luck with that. So a little something for everyone here tonight. Enjoy it while you can. Of course, this weekend's all about the Final Four. Boy, oh boy, I think it's going to be a great, and I mean absolutely great weekend. And we are literally just about a week and a half away from the Masters. Can you believe that? Our first major of the year on the PGA Tour, the granddaddy of them all there, the Masters will take center stage. So it's a great time of year. Welcome to the month of April, but don't go anywhere. In-game live is coming up next. We'll see you again tomorrow for more Game Time Decisions.